Fernando, ¿qué te parece esto? Ah, digo, esta caminata.
Espectacular. Dura. Después de 14 horas de darle, bastante dura. Pero bueno, se disfruta.
Única.
Única. Ya. The black t-shirt, la camiseta negra. And the glory forever.
I'm getting fit just being in here. I feel like I'm getting stronger on the bike. Just sitting in this room.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of inspiring to see all this stuff.
A lot of bicycles, some trophies.
Yeah, some good memorabilia. That's all we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about some of this stuff.
Okay.
But today's about Norseman, right?
Yeah, we can talk Norseman. I just did it a month ago.
Yep. So Norseman is the king of all extreme triathlons.
Yes.
Arguably the hardest Ironman distance. But when people talk Ironman, they don't really associate Norseman to it. It's more associated as an extreme triathlon.
Correct, yes. Extra.
But in the world of endurance, it probably holds the highest regard. Probably more impressive than Kona, right? More impressive than maybe a Leadville 100 mountain bike. It's one of the king daddies.
Yeah, and it's hard to get in. Like
Right.
harder than anything else because it's only 200 slots.
Yeah. So let's talk about the journey to get in.
Yeah.
How did you get in?
Yeah, that's a very good first question. So I tried several years like everybody else with
Just
the
a normal
lottery.
7 years.
Yeah, pretty much 7 years. Yeah, since I heard of it, I said, okay, I'll put my name on it. And I'm Uruguayan, I'm American, I'm a Spaniard, so I try every nationality since then. And I put my name on it. You pay $10 or something like that, and you wait. And and I was lucky every year. Half of the people that get in are from Norway, and then the other half are from the lottery.
Really? Is there any qualification? Can you qualify for it?
Well, no, but last year they started a point system.
Okay.
And that's the reason I got in.
Okay.
So they had a point system. It's a bit complex, but they said it's not. But depending on how many points you have, you are on the list. And the first, I think it was 100 will get in.
Huh.
And you pay $30 or something like that to get in the point system.
Right.
The points will come from any extra race. You have several like Icon and Swissman and several races around the world. And if you did some of those, you have points if you finished. And when I tried, they had no idea. Put my races and boom, 44th place or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm in.
You're in.
Yes, and I was in.
So the first time they instituted this point system, you submitted, because you've done Icon, you've done, what are some of the races in the Xtreme series that you've done?
So now it's Patagon Man, which is in Patagonia, Icon, Swissman, Austria Xtreme. There are so many, Montenegro.
Right.
There are so many, and I done 9 of those plus Norseman now, so I done 10. So some of them were not part of the Like I did Alaska Man and Iceland, and they didn't account for it, but they're similar.
Right.
And they probably as hard as Norseman.
Really? So for someone who's like watching this or listening to this, and they're like, okay, this is a triathlon, this is an Ironman, it's extreme, right? In quotes, extreme. what would you say, because we all know an Ironman is 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, full marathon, 26.2 miles. All in one day, started, and you have 17 hours to complete it. Pros go in 7.5 hours. You know, age groupers are anywhere up to 17 hours. It is, to the people that don't know a whole lot, that's sort of the pinnacle, right? But to the Ironman, compared to the Ironman, because Norseman is the similar distances, right?
Yes, similar distance.
So it follows that.
Yes,
right.
a little more in most cases, but.
Right, follows that same sequence of events.
Yes.
It's a triathlon, but what makes it, to someone who doesn't know, the difference between an Ironman and an extreme Ironman like Norseman? So we get a little
So
context.
the big difference is several things. So first of all, you in most cases you jump from a boat instead of like an Ironman going from the beach or which is most of the cases.
Sure.
So then the water is cold in most cases, like from 45 degrees in Alaska man to I think it was 50 something, 55 in Norseman, and so it's cold water. So that's the first extra challenge.
Gotcha.
The second challenge is through the mountains. It's an elevation game, in most cases higher than any regular Ironman. And then the run is a mix of road, off-road, and in most cases you finish at the top of a mountain.
Yes.
So, and then one more thing that makes it very special and different, there is no support. You have to bring your support crew. You have to have somebody, in fact, in most cases, 2 people, and one of them will run with you to the top of the mountain. And it's mandatory, and that makes it extra challenge, of course.
For sure. They probably couldn't have an Ironman with 3,000 people on an event like this. There's
Right. So an Ironman goes from 1,500 to 3,000 people, and this is 200 max.
Yeah.
So in most cases 150. I've done some that are only 100 people because it's unmanageable. It's non-supported. There are no cones.
Right.
In the streets. There is no stations.
And I read that the total ascent is 5,000 meters or 3.1 miles, and that's probably the run at the end, right?
Yes.
So you're actually climbing a mountain at the end of all of this.
Yes, in this one, the last 10K were
straight up.
No
No aid stations. No places to rest.
They did have a couple of aid stations
Okay.
with some water and such, but you don't rely on those. You rely on your support crew to follow you, leapfrog you, and wait for you to give you what you need.
Right, and I think that kind of brings us to what I went on the Norseman website, and they say Norseman is a tribute to triathlon, where you bring your best friends, your family to join the party.
Right.
Which you did.
Yes. It's a party. It's different. The ambience is different.
Yeah.
It's all prepared for the crew and you to figure things out together, right? So.
Yeah. One thing that intrigues me, because I know you very well, and I know what you've done, but to the outside person just looking in, they could see, okay, he is a marathon, Boston sub-3 marathoner, Kona, Nice, all the world championships, Leadville, Ultraman. Like, the level keeps climbing, right? Climbing and climbing and climbing.
Right.
What do you think drives you to continue to push you and these other 250 people? What do you think is the driver to say, because Ironman's not enough, Ultraman's not enough?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the driver is to do the impossible. The driver is to go beyond your limits. The driver is to go to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And the one that is special.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people do Ironmans now. And that doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah.
It's only less than 1% or who knows.
Yeah.
But this is the other percentage, right?
Yeah.
It's the decimals, right? So
Point
only a few
0,
can do that, supposedly. And that makes, for me, is that and the adversity, the challenge, the idea of something that is almost impossible, but you dare to do it anyway, to dream it and to do it.
So when you register for these things, it's kind of to scare you a little bit, to challenge you, and put you in a place where you want to chase the impossible in a way, or the really extremely difficult.
Yes, and you know, look, I done dozens of races. So actually, the number is 200. I just counted them. But you think you're ready all the time, right? I mean, but half of you says you're not. You know, it's like you're ready, but you know it's gonna be hard, and there is a big possibility of failure, not finish. You know, Norseman in particular. You want to get the black t-shirt, right? Mm-hmm. And to get the black t-shirt, you have to be top 160 and
top 160 participants.
Right, and there were 240 or something like that, and you think, okay, that's not bad. But everybody's good. Yeah. So then it's something you have to figure out. And at the end of the day, the black t-shirt, the white t-shirt is not the important. The important is to finish and to finish in a good spirit, you know? Yeah. That's what it matters.
And you have an extremely good track record of finishing. Like extremely good track record. Yeah. Where do you think that comes from? Because we all know that you've had to have had bad days physically, mentally, emotionally. It can be nutrition, it can be mechanicals, it can be weather, it can be those things happen. That's a reality of life, and to be able to go to the extreme in a lot of these events. But you have a 90-something%, 95%. I mean, you finish these extreme events. Why do you think that is?
It's the determination I have. Yeah. I know I finish before I even show up. I visualize that. In my mind, it's already done. And you're right. I finished every race but 2 in my 13 years of doing this.
Over 200. So we're talking 1%. It's 99%.
And I failed twice on some special events. And one was Icon the first time, and then another one was recently because I had COVID. I went to a 50K race, and I didn't feel I could finish that. And I think it's the level of visualization, determination, the drive that I have. It's mental, you know. It's mental. Hopefully, the good mental.
And a good mental.
But it's that idea of that nothing is impossible. Yeah. And I'm there to get it done, you know. Yeah. And that's that.
One of the other quotes on the Norseman website talks about, in quotes, "This race isn't for everyone. It's for the determined, the persistent, the stubborn, and the lucky 250 selected." Yes. So, the fascination with, I've done over 200 races, and we're in the 200, we're not including a turkey trot 5K.
No.
We're talking major races. How many Ironman?
So Ironman branded, like 27 or something.
Right, so we're talking, and then how many marathons about?
So 35 half Ironmans. Then I've done special races like Escape from Alcatraz, which I did 8 times. Right. I've done 20 plus marathons. Yeah. And then I done a lot of Xterra.
Yep, Xterra. So these are all would be kind of in the category of ultra endurance or I don't want to say just pretty serious endurance events. These aren't
Yes.
So,
you could say 4+ hours
Yeah,
each,
right,
something like
right.
that. And then recently I did the Marathon des Sables, which I have
We're gonna
video
talk about
on
that one later, yeah.
So that was all the extreme, right? So,
yeah, for sure. So like the neighbor across the street looks at Escape from Alcatraz. That would be something. Their first, I could never do that. You've done a lot of these and finished 99% of those. So would you say you're determined, you're persistent, stubborn?
Yes, very
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
I won't let it go. I will do it, no matter what. I mean, and to the person out there that is thinking, this guy is special, and I don't believe I'm special in any way. I'm a normal person with a wife, and a dog, and kids
for sure.
Friends, a full-time job, and it's about that. It's about the determination, being stubborn, dreaming of the impossible, and go for it. Dreaming is not enough. You have to go for it, right? And do it, and that's what I've done. I don't dream of anything. I dream it, but then I go and I do it, right? So.
Because I have a kind of a window into your training a little bit, so I know what you do, and I think there's some of the training, the racing helps the training, but I know your training isn't extreme.
Yes.
It's not.
Not at all.
At all. Right. So, would you say that your mental, your ability to be mentally strong, race, the mental side of the racing, would you say that is more of a strength?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Look, at this point, I keep the engine running, right? So I train 2 hours a day, but I very rarely, I train at a zone 3 or 4.
Right.
I do once a week.
You're very aerobic, steady.
I just go and do my usual thing.
Yeah, I've run with you and I've seen you bike.
And people is surprised. Fernando, I thought people is intimidated by running with me. I'm like, no, I run slow. It doesn't matter to me. So the mental part is the key, definitely. The focus, the idea that you're not gonna give up and keep it going, right? So I in most cases I pass people at the end, right?
Yeah.
So, and the longest the race, the better for me, because I will I keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't believe I have anything special. I don't have a very special nutrition plan, and I'm a normal person in general, right? So.
Do you think that mental toughness, I think it's more than mental toughness, but I can't quite place a word to describe what that mental component is, but do you think that's trainable? Do you think you've always had that?
Definitely. No, look, I have a gift, but in a way, I developed it. Yeah. I developed the toolbox, and the toolbox was a mix of a habit, persistence, consistency, focus. It's a combination of things, right? And I believe everybody could develop that. I did it myself. I didn't go to a coach, and I developed that myself, just in different ways, put together these pieces that allow me to do what I do, and that's what I'm doing now. In fact, I'm helping people to get the toolbox to build their own, because at the end of the day, it's your own experience, And one thing I want people to know is that I don't expect people to go and do what I do, but just try some of the things you thought you would not be able to do. And you'll be surprised.
So the mental side, and you've created this toolbox. It's a weapon for ultra endurance event. It's a weapon, right? To be able to go and finish 198 out of 200 races that are 4+ hours in extreme conditions is phenomenal, right? Like that in itself is phenomenal. And you feel like it's something that can be learned, practiced, refined, utilized, right?
Anybody.
Yeah. And then what would you tell somebody, like, what would you tell somebody? Hey, you should do an event. Doesn't have to be an Ultraman. Doesn't have to be an Ironman. But what is the benefit to them besides the medal? The hour or two, we're like this. You go in the office. Look at me.
Yes.
Where is a life-changing component of
My
that?
first reaction is, it doesn't matter that is an event, but you know what? When it's an event, you create a journey. You know, it's that pathway you create to get to a certain point, and that's the part that I enjoy the most. It's not even the race,
Yeah.
and that's what most people will find out, that when you sign up for a race, it's a journey. You will stop doing few things, you'll change few things in your life, and initially it's frustrating, it's intimidating, but once you get going and you get some motion, you'll be surprised how happy that makes you, how focused that makes you, and how much joy that brings to you. And at the end of the day, it's all about that. It's just the journey, and then the race is the race. You get your medal, but in most cases, I finish the race, and well, in some I cry, in some I, depending on the race, but the immediate thing is everything you've done to get to that point, and that's actually what pushes you to finish it, because everything you sacrifice, your family time, your friends, and anything else to get there, and that was push you to the end, and that's fascinating. It's amazing, and the feeling of that is just impressive. I love it, and that's what makes me happy, and that's what makes me, when people do that, I'm happy as well. You know,
For them.
so, for them, exactly.
Yeah, and you have a way that you want to spread this this journey to others, right? Like that's part of your your core and what you stand for, and you're always encouraging people to get out there and try these events and put yourself out there and take the challenge.
Yes.
I remember my brother and I did a mountain bike race with you.
Yeah.
And we got into the Leadville 100 via a lottery, or I forget how we got on, but somehow from that race in Austin, I'll never forget
Austin Rattle.
The Austin Rattle. Yeah, we got an entry in there, and we were like, no, we're too busy. We got this going on, and I remember this is over a decade ago, and you said it to Chris. You said, Chris, if you have the chance, do it now. You may not be able to do it again. So sure enough, we signed up, and he still talks about that today. You influenced him in that way because something will come up. Right. We were going to go to Big Bend for a weekend. He goes, remember what Fernando said, right? And that kind of like, don't hesitate, don't use excuses. The opportunity's here, take it. You may not get that opportunity, right? We probably would not have done the Leadville 100 mountain bike race if you didn't say those words. You probably remember.
You never told me. You made me almost.
Yeah. But we probably wouldn't have done that. And that event, and I can just speak for myself, the event was awesome. The bike ride, everything. But the journey with my dad who came and my kids that came. That has been a huge part. My dad still tells stories about, being there.
That's right.
And his two sons are racing this crazy mountain bike ride, and he's in charge of the bags, and he's giving us so the impact on that is lifelong. He's the pride, and I'm telling you, we probably would have put it off.
Yeah, most people do. Most people.
It's never the right time.
No, thank you for that story. I have so many of those, I remember a few years back, we were here with 3 friends. I think it was Paco and Eduardo and somebody, Americo maybe. And we were just drinking a beer outside, and suddenly I started talking about this, and I convinced them to all sign up on spot an Ironman Texas.
The full Ironman.
Yeah, $800,
right.
And they signed in front of me. Like, okay, who does that? And it was all about story of the journey, and then same happened. They
Yeah.
came back and said, "Wow, what a journey! Thank
Yeah.
you." You know,
Yeah.
although they hate me for when they were suffering in the middle of the race, but
Good, cursing you out, I bet. Yeah.
but no, that's and look, your story is great because you know it created memories not just for you, but for your brother, your dad,
Kids.
your children, and even the dog maybe. So, that's what it's all about, you know.
Yeah.
It's life.
But it's really reaching out and grabbing that opportunity because it's, you know, we're all busy. We all say we'll do it one day. I'll do it when I'm 40. I'll do it when I'm 50. I'll do, you know, and then, you know, I don't have the time. I don't have and those opportunities are missed, and you turn around and you are looking back and missing out on those things.
Yeah, most people will put as many excuses as they can.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
some of them are true, are real, but you know, in most cases people make them because you know it's not normal to do these things. You know, and I mean, but again, it's just a matter of finding the right pieces of the puzzle, and if you're guided by somebody like me or somebody else, it's even better.
Sure.
It's all about enjoying it. You know, when I started this, I promised myself to have a regular life. You know, because I had a couple of friends that were doing Ironmans, and they were like, "Oh no, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, I cannot go for a beer." And I was like, "Okay," so I promised myself to enjoy the journey. You know, and I did it for the most part. You know. Of course, I sacrificed certain things, but not much. So, you know, I knew I wasn't going to be a professional, right, at this point on this. So I said, well, I'm just going to enjoy it. If not, why would I do this, right? That's what I encourage people to think about. Just enjoy it, you know, whatever it is. It's a 10K or a marathon or a half marathon, or even just getting active. Just moving and getting active, you know, is good for your health and for your
especially
mental and everything else, right?
Yeah, there's some kind of pull to it because Ironman sells out. Boston Marathon, there's 40,000 people running the Houston Marathon. There's something connected to the human that wants to be challenged, wants to go through that journey.
Right.
Wants to suffer together, right? And they want to go through that. And there's something, I guess, during and after that is so rewarding that it makes it worth it, you know?
Yes. We didn't talk about, for example, all the friends you make on this journey. You know? I just wrote this article in LinkedIn about the friends I met by biking, you know? And it's just impressive. And everywhere I go, I met somebody, and then they became my friends. And I promise you, no matter what race you do, you'll meet somebody. And somebody new in your life. You know, it's not your neighbor, it's not your brother, your sister. It's somebody that wanted to do something like you. And that's impressive. And you'll be surprised the relationships you create.
How much is age a limiter for you in this?
Yeah, well, I don't think it is a limiter. I just came back from a race in Maine, Xterra. There was a guy that was 76, and he was enjoying it as much as I was. Of course, you know, they might go slower. I'd say there is no limit, you know. It's all about what you want to get out of it at the end of the day. And I've seen people with deficiencies of all kinds, whether they're blind or don't have a leg or an arm, and they were all happy and smiling, you know. And that's all it matters. So I'll say age is not a limitation at all. It's just a different mindset and a different training program, and maybe not. You know, I'm 51 and I can pass some younger people for sure.
You always do. So for you personally, you keep chasing. I don't know if chasing is the right word, but you keep finding the next bigger, right? So for you, I know you did, you've done Kona before, you did Nice, you're going back to Kona.
Yeah.
But you looking for extreme, like bigger and bigger.
Yes.
I thought there may be a limit, but then you did this marathon in the desert.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So yeah, 3 months ago I did Marathon des Sables.
Right.
So I crossed the desert, the Morocco desert in 7 days. You bring your food in the back, and all you get is water. And you run a marathon per day, and one day is 2 marathons, and it's extraordinary. It's tough, it's hard. I thought it was the hardest thing. I'm not sure it was the hardest thing, but it was super hard, mentally, physically, the challenges. So, and I'm, speaking of, what's the biggest, they're different,
Yeah.
This one was at the very top, top 3 for sure.
Right.
And yeah, incredible. Again, at this point, I don't think anything is impossible at all.
Yeah.
Give it to me and I'll do it. But it's just the mental part that says that. Again, my game plan is always I will finish before I'm even there. I could see myself finishing, and
which is a great metaphor for everything.
For everything.
For everything.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Whether it's a project in your company or something in your family, just get it, visualize it, and finish it. Finish what you started, right? The typical saying, right? So.
Do you still get this? Do you look back? Okay, I'm going to Kona in a month, say.
Yeah.
Does that still do something for you?
That's a good question. I've been there, done that. It's Kona,
Yeah, so it's special in a Kona. So maybe not Kona's example. How about just the Ironman distance? Because Kona's special.
Kona is special
because
I qualify in Waco, and the qualifying is not easy.
No.
When I go to an Ironman, except Ironman Texas, which I did every year, so I'm one of the last
that's
standing,
impressive, Every single Ironman Texas.
Look, every race I say is special, but some of them are like, I just go do it, and it's like done already, This year I did, the list is 20 races, and I done 13 already. Yeah. And some of them were that kind, the race I will go finish and done.
Right.
And few of them, a handful of them are the special ones, But I'm not arrogant enough to say, this is done, no, I know it's gonna be hard. I just go with the mentality of, okay, let's get it done and move on and the next one. Right?
Do you get some of the same sense of satisfaction? I know it's like you can't compare Ironman Texas with running through the desert for 6 days. You can't. They're not.
No, you get different satisfaction, different levels, because once you do an Ironman, you do 20, it's like, okay, I finish. That's one thing to be careful with, I would say. You become a bit complacent, I guess, or done. I don't even look at the medals anymore. They give me a medal, and I didn't even look at it. And so I think one of the things I need to learn myself, and I encourage others to do, is enjoy that moment a bit more, Because I've done so many that I finish and okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And that's not good. I think I'm actually thinking about that myself strongly. Lately, I've been thinking about that. How can I enjoy it more, right? Because otherwise, it loses the purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, because you keep doing, like say Texas, and there's a reason why.
Yeah, well, Texas is special for me because there are 5 guys that have done it every year, and I'm one of them. So I'm waiting for them to give up, and then
you're going to be the guy.
One day they call me and say,
"How many is it?"
Yeah. So I've done 13, and the day they cancel because of the COVID, I did it right here.
Yes. So you've done all of
the machine and in my pool outside, and I did 11 hours. So I didn't miss that one either.
Yeah,
so that's probably ahead on that one. So.
That's wild. So let's get back to Norseman. Talk to me. This thing starts in the dark.
Yeah, sunrise.
Sunrise, okay. There's a 4-meter drop off a ferry.
It looks like 10, you know.
Yeah.
It feels like 10.
4 meters is how many feet? That's.
I don't know, but it's intense, you know. You know, I've done all these races, and I'm always.
Yeah.
People don't know this, but I'm afraid of the
Yeah.
water somehow.
Right.
I don't know why. I've been a windsurfer for many years, but
Yeah.
I'm struggling. I didn't say this to anybody, I don't think, but I was throwing up from the
Before
boat.
Okay.
In the boat, I was
Right.
just anxious, and I was true story.
What made this one? What about Norseman? The jump, the water made you more nervous, say, or gave you anxiety more than, say, Escape from Alcatraz? You jump off a boat.
It's very similar, but
Yeah.
Norseman is Norseman, right? And they make a big deal out of it, and the boat and this that anticipation of it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it wasn't as hard as others I done, you know?
Yeah.
Like Icon, which is swimming in the dark, completely dark,
Yeah.
you know? So, but still, you know, jumping in the water, you have to swim for 200 meters to the starting line.
Oh.
That makes it also not that, it makes it a bit more friendly, because you jump and you don't
It's
start.
not chaotic.
Yeah, so then you float for 5 minutes and then you go, right? So that was okay. It was all day, you could already see, you know, sunrise, the mountains. It wasn't that cold, so no problem. Once you jump, you like. But that second, that very second or millisecond where you are about to jump,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's like pure adrenaline, pure nervous, anxiety, all of the above.
Do you ever question your decision of doing the race?
Never, ever. No, I don't question the decision
Yeah.
of making any of the races.
And you never have thoughts like, I'm not going to finish this.
No, never.
Does that ever pop in your head at the
Never.
worst of times?
Never.
Ever.
Ever. I never.
Do you
ever.
keep it from going into your head, or it just never comes, or do you force it out?
I think I force it. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, I know some of these things are like super challenging, and you know, you don't know what you're gonna face,
Yeah.
whether it's a flat or whatever. But I don't think about that. I'm positive. Yeah, no matter what. You know, I did have flats. I did have mechanical issues. I did have all of the problems that everybody had. But I never doubted for a second that I will not finish. You know. Now, in some of these, I was hoping to make it on time. Only a few.
Chasing the time.
Chasing it.
Yeah.
So, of finishing the black T-shirt, right? That was a big deal. So, and you probably know this one is something special about me, I guess, or different, is that I don't look at the watch at all. Right? So I keep going. And in this one in particular, I didn't know what position I was. I didn't want to know. But in the middle of the bike, Andrea says, you know, you came out of the water 223rd place. Like, oh, what? Okay. But now you are in 163.
Off the bike?
No, I was mile 40 of the bike.
Yeah.
So I say, okay, so I passed 60 people already. Okay, but I knew the 160 was the number, so I kept pushing, and I got off the bike 144. And so I was okay then, and then I passed some people on the run.
Yeah, 'cause part of the unique thing about you and triathlon is the sports progressively go in the favor of your strengths.
Right.
You're an okay swimmer.
Yes, okay,
A
swimmer.
very good biker.
Yes.
And an extremely good runner.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah, I'm a better runner.
Yeah.
Then I'm a good biker, and then just okay swimmer. I barely swim.
Yeah.
Barely train this swim.
Yeah. Sometimes I think your training and your nutrition and you're watching the watts and your time and your heart rate. Some of that you're not anti that. You just that doesn't motivate you. That doesn't drive you. That
Yeah, no, I'm not anti that, and that works for most people.
Yeah,
actually.
that's a unique
perspective. I think I wanna be kind of different and unique.
Yeah.
So I play that game of, you know, why not You know, so
Yeah.
I play with the idea that I'm different that way. And that's kind of.
Yeah, and it works. Like
It does
for
work.
sure.
It's proven, and I think a lot of people should try that
Yeah.
instead of worrying about the numbers all the time and you know and the power. And, you know, I can barely see the computer anyway, but I don't check.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Well, I agree. There's like I coach college runners
Yes.
in the university, and I don't want them racing with a watch.
Right.
I
Yes.
think it puts a limit
Yes.
versus, and I think
Yes.
you know, you take that away.
I agree. In
but
most cases, you'll say, "Oh, I'm too slow," or
Right.
"I'm too fast." You'll never be like, "Oh, I'm perfect," you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Although but I do think at the other side of the spectrum, I think on a long race, people can tend to overdo it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I'm more.
I see both sides.
You know, I can see both, and
Yeah.
again, I'm just find that's my differentiator in
Yeah.
some way. Just kind of a fun fact about
Yeah.
the way I do it.
But it works.
It works.
Yeah, it works. It's I feel like you have I think your makeup, your physiological makeup, it enables you to do long events. And I don't know how you metabolize, but you metabolize food very well.
Yes.
You do well in the heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I learned the different climates, and you know.
Yeah.
And that's another differentiation, I guess. Or, you know,
Do you think that's trained? Do you think you're born that way? Do you think you evolved
Yeah.
that way with all of this racing, or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't have
Yeah.
a straight answer for that.
Yeah.
I think I'm mentally prepared. You
Yeah.
know, most people will go to Leadville 100, week in advance to get adapt to the altitude. I don't do any of that. I show up
Yeah.
the day before and I go
Yeah.
do it. Is that the right thing to do? I don't know, but I go and I finish, and that's my
Right.
motivation. You know.
Yeah.
It's just go do it no matter what. I don't look at the race structure much or the maps or the routes, and I just go do it, you know. And that's kind of again my special treatment for it, you know.
So do you think, like, if you were to line up in an Ironman, would you rather say you couldn't work out for 2 months, but you had you had this attitude, you had this mental direction,
Yes.
but 2 months of nothing?
No.
Or you had a perfect 6 months of training, as fit as you've ever been in your life, but you come in with doubts.
No, I take the 2 months all day, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen people, you know, doing extraordinary things. Like,
Yeah.
you know, came to me and say, "Hey, there is I remember my friend Eduardo that came on a Christmas and say, "Hey, do you think I could do Galveston in 3 months?" So, of course you can. Now, of course, that's always my answer, but it's a mental period,
Yeah.
you know. You
Yeah.
want to do it, yes or no? Okay, yes, okay. But I don't have this. Okay, well, can you figure it out? Yes or no? Yes, okay. Then, and that's all it is. And if you apply that in everything, that's how you have a successful life, professionally, family, sports-wise, or whatever, right? So, is it easy? No. Does it happen overnight? No, but it's doable, and it's coachable, and it's learnable, and anybody can do it.
Because for me, I think if your gift to others can be that attitude, that ability to pull on the mental side and the positivity, I'll quote him right here, the persistence, the determination, a little bit of the stubbornness.
Yes. That's my gift. That's the gift I could give to others. You know, that's I want to advocate that everybody can do this, no matter the circumstances, you know. And in fact, the most challenging your life has been, the more you can do these things. You know, I do come from adversity, and that's probably why my mind is already trained for adversity. I'm seeking adversity, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's okay if you're not. It's okay if you come from a well-established environment, and that's okay as well. But you can learn all these tools that if you put them together in such a way, you can make this happen. When I say this, it doesn't mean to go to and do Norseman. It means to have a balanced life, to be active, to be healthier, and to do the impossible. Yeah, that's what it is.
And take this mindset across your whole life.
That's exactly what I think people should do. I do take all of these to my work, to my family, to my friends.
For sure.
And everything I do is driven by the same toolbox, you know? And it doesn't have to be strict, by the way. So you know, one thing we didn't talk about is you learn to be flexible, to be adaptable, to learn, you know, all these races have things that come up, you know, whatever it is, and you have to figure them out to finish the race. And that's life, right? So things will come across, I promise you. And if you don't have the tools to figure these things out, you're gonna struggle. And that's what, unfortunately, most people stress and is unmotivated because of those things. They can't figure things out, especially the young generation. So
this sport, this journey gives you those tools.
It most definitely
sharpens those tools.
Yes, definitely.
So what's next?
What's next?
What's the next? What tops Norseman?
Well, there are a few things that will top Norseman. I might come back to the Ultraman World Championship in December, yet to be seen. I'm going to Kona, but again, we talk about that. So, next year I'm going to get Epic in South Africa, which is 8 days in a mountain bike across the desert and dunes and things. So that's the Tour de France of mountain biking.
Yes. A lot of professionals, hard to get into.
It's super hard to get into. Then I'm looking for maybe the Barclays Marathon.
Okay, you know, I like it.
And you know, I'm still searching on what it is. You know, I'm gonna do Ironman Texas again. Every year I run 100 miles by myself. I might do that again. I'm looking for what's next. You know, and I'm not sure what it is yet. So.
There's always one coming. Though. There's others like you who are looking for the next big thing.
Yes. So call me and we figure it out together. So every other day I heard of something else, UTMB.
Yes.
Which you know is another one on the list. I'm always looking.
So you're not done yet. You're just getting started.
No way. No. I have many years and many races.
Are you going to be the 76-year-old out there?
Yes, probably. That's what I want to be. I was telling this guy, hey, I want to be like you. What have you done? So,
that's incredible. Yeah. Well, that was fun, Fernando.
That was good. Thank you, man. Really
I'm proud of you.
All right.
Your story's good, and your message is better. It's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.